Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Liquor Control Commission for August 15, 2016. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Brady?
Here.
Commissioner Lang?
Here.
Commissioner Kruger?
Present.
Commissioner Papantos?
Present.
Commissioner Vogel?
Here.
Commissioner Vito?
Here.
Chairperson Argyris?
Here. New business. I'm sorry. Approval of the minutes for the special meeting of July 25th, 2016. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Lang, second by Commissioner Lang, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyris?
Yes. Now new business.
In consideration of a request for a Class D liquor license, Sharentage Enterprises Incorporated, DBA Wheeling Liquors, 890 South Milwaukee Avenue.
Okay. Manager Svandilis. First of all, is the petitioner here?
Okay.
Mr. Patel?
Oh, yeah.
He's not here, right?
We can still approve with the conditions. They don't need to be present. I can certainly answer any, or at least try to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Go ahead.
Essentially, this is a Class D business license for a change in ownership for Wheeling Liquors, same address, same scope of business, just under new ownership. There are 3 conditions that I ask be attached to any motion to approve, those being satisfactory background check results, payment of all liquor license fees, and submittal of a certificate of insurance indicating liquor liability insurance for the establishment that names the Village of Wheeling as an additional insured party. We also noticed that there were some unsigned papers in the packet. We'll make sure that those are completed as required.
Questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Thank you. The packet shows that the petitioner wishes to open on 9/1. If we don't have all this information, will we stop? We won't issue a license, and he knows he can't sell until the license is issued?
That is correct.
And he's clear of that?
That is, yes, and he will be reminded of such as well.
Thank you.
Question.
Commissioner Lang?
Normally not inclined to approve a liquor license if the gentleman or the petitioner isn't present. Are we, any reasonable doubts here that this is?
Well, I was going to make a suggestion to the board was that we approve the license subject to an additional condition, because I'm assuming next week we're going to create a license for this individual that he needs to be present for any further questions they would have.
Works out perfect then.
Commissioner Brady?
I suggest we just table this until he can find the time to show up for something this
The problem with that is the timeline of September 1st. Our next meeting is the 22nd. We won't have one until after Labor Day.
That's probably
That's why I
his loss.
suggested that he needs to be here before we approve the additional new license that we have to grant.
Some of these guys take this stuff too lightly, and this is a very serious thing. He's got unfinished business. He's got somebody's got a question. He's not here to answer them.
Right. And again, you know what?
We table it.
He may be late too. Who knows?
I make a motion we table it.
Any other questions?
There's a motion.
I understand. There's a motion by Commissioner Brady to table.
Second.
Is there a second? Let the record show there is not a second. Any additional questions? Entertain a motion to approve subject to the conditions that were stated and with an additional condition that he needs to be present before us before a new liquor license is issued.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lang.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kruger. Is there a statement you want to read for the record, Manager?
Yeah, I will. Well, normally this is for the benefit of the petitioner, but for the record, A Class D liquor license authorizes the retail sale of alcoholic liquor by package for consumption off the premises only, subject to the following. Conditions and qualifications. A Class D licensed premises shall not use more than 10% of its total floor area for the display of consumable goods other than tobacco, soft drinks, and alcoholic beverages, and limitations, no gasoline shall be sold by a Class D licensed premises. Video gaming as defined under the Illinois Video Gaming Act shall not be allowed in a Class D licensed premise. Please note that in addition to the conditions and qualifications specific to this license class, all Wheeling liquor license holders must comply with all provisions of the Wheeling Municipal Code and are responsible for being familiar with those provisions.
Thank you. So noted. Motion made, seconded, roll call.
Commissioner Brady?
No.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes. Motion carries. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Lang, second by Commissioner Vogel. Roll call.
Commissioner Brady?
Yes.
Commissioner Lang?
Yes.
Commissioner Kruger?
Yes.
Commissioner Papantos?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vito?
Yes.
Chairperson Argyros?
Yes. The regular meeting for August 15th is now called to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Papantos?
Present.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Vito?
Here.
President Argyros?
Here. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of July 18th, 2016.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Lang,
Second.
second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the workshop meeting of July 25th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes. Any changes to the agenda?
None this evening.
Thank you. Proclamations.
Village of Wheeling, Maya Teran. Wheeling resident Maya Teran recently closed to celebrate her 11th birthday by giving gifts rather than receiving them. Maya Teran surprised the Wheeling Police Department with Police Survival Kit, gift bags each containing sweet treats and a heartwarming message. At a time when police departments nationwide are responding to unprecedented challenges, acts of kindness and generosity by residents like Maya are of tremendous value in reminding officers that their difficult, dangerous, stressful work is important and appreciated. The residents of Wheeling are deeply grateful for both the service provided by the police department and the thoughtfulness of community-minded residents like Maya Teran. Dean Argyros, president of the Village of Wheeling, do hereby celebrate Maya Teran as an exemplary citizen of Wheeling, commend her for her kindness and her initiative, and wish her a belated happy 11th birthday and much success in the years to come.
Thank you. Trustee Dave Vogel.
Yes, Maya, on behalf of the trustees, I'd like to present to you 2 bags of Lifesavers, one the gummy variety and one the hard candy variety, to remind you that you have been one with your kind gestures.
Trustee Mary Papantos.
Yes, Maya, I would like to present to you a bag of Smarties because you obviously have wisdom beyond your years. These are so you can have extra brain power to be a great student in school.
Trustee Joe Vito.
Maya, I'd like to present to you some airheads because let's face it, you'll have to deal with your fair share in your lifetime.
Trustee Ken Brady.
This is a little bit of a problem because I have some Kit Kats for you. Unfortunately, they're minis. I wish they made them Maxis or Jumbos to show the size of your heart. Thank you.
Trustee Mary Kruger.
Maya, I'd like to offer you some Laffy Taffy because laughter is the best medicine and smiles improve everyone's face value.
Trustee Ray Lang.
Maya, I have Starburst for you, and because you are a bright, shining star to all of us. Thank you.
Attorney Jim Ferrillo.
Maya, I've got a lucky penny for you for the times when skill is not enough. You'll have a little luck to pull you through.
Manager Svandelis.
I have gum for you because your act of kindness has stuck this whole village together in support of our men and women in blue.
Thank you.
Clerk Simpson.
And just for you, we have one more candy, good and plenty, because your deed was good with plenty of class and style.
And Maya, thank you. You know what? During a tough time, It was an 11-year-old girl that really reached out to everybody in our department that needed a big hug. So from myself and the entire community, we thank you for what you did. I think what you did was terrific. And from the bottom of our hearts, here's a big kiss for you, okay? And we gave you a copy of everything here. And I got a copy of it. You guys want to say something, Maya? You could say a few words if you like.
Well, we're very appreciative of the community's reaction to Maya's act of kindness. We kind of did this expecting it to stay pretty private, but the police department has been phenomenal, very gracious. The police officers have come by the house to thank her personally, and it's been a wonderful experience for her.
Well, thank you again,
We
Maya.
thank the police department and all of you guys for having us stay.
We appreciate it. Didn't go- Boy, we need more of that. That was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Citizens' concerns and comments.
Ms. Lewandowski?
Good evening, everyone. I would like to talk about this parking matter. I'm challenging the 910, also 108 parking. The problem is every time the car comes up to our home, it's another car is out from 1205 Jasmine. They shine the high beam lights and scares the heck out of my mom. Okay, that's not going to be tolerated. I have called the police so many times over there, and they sometimes insult me, and they say, well, we can't do nothing about it and everything else, and yada, yada, yada. So I had to take it to the next, chain of command, Sergeant Conway. He's been taking care of it a little bit, and I really appreciate the effort to stop it. My mom is in her 80s, and she doesn't like that kind of, well, would you like you guys have like coming in your room? You think it's the police or somebody else. It's very annoying. And parking in the back of our car and blocking it off all the time. We call the towing company, we call with the police. Oh, is the car still there? Oh, is the car there? And then also they insult me. And I said, Miss Cavina, I'm not what you say. I'm not a man anymore. I would like to be treated as a human being, not some kind of, garbage on the floor. I'm always nice to the police. I help the police. I try to make Cedar Run a good community to live in. But, especially when I'm riding the bicycle, chapter also 9, also 10, 107, 18, they block the sidewalks all night long. Kitty corners. You can't get through. Why should I ride on this thing? I even have a light for my bicycle. Why should I ride on the street when they got a nut coming down the street at night, speeding and everything, and got loud music, boom, 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 and playing and everything. I also read, especially in the Secretary of State also manual, driver's manual, also. Anything that's 75 feet or, less, is a movie violation of a ticket, especially late at night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's very disturbing on Lake Cook Road and disturbing in Cedar Run. Especially, the police officers also give permission to the kids to play soccer. We have $15,000 worth of damage when Alma had the master board and never did anything about it. I don't think the police should say you should go to the park and play, not in front of the house, because other people will complain. You have a soccer ball coming through the window, $300 damage. You got a person that's calling the police because there is the soccer ball dented their car or broke their mirror on the car or a porch light or anything. But I don't think the police should give the right to kids. They should say, go to the park and play or go down to the playground and see a run and play. Not in front of the house, because it's getting to be a real problem. A car is coming down the street, ball's coming down, kid gets killed by a car. You know what I mean? That is not permissible. That's all I gotta say. But the police department, some of the officers are very good to me. I wish they would all be nice to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Staff reports, Economic Development Director Melanie Effie.
Thank you, President Argyris. I'm delighted to announce that Rich Loaf Foods began its frozen pizza production operations today at 120 West Palatine Road. Rich Loaf Foods expanded its manufacturing capacity by leasing a vacant 115,000 square foot food grade manufacturing plant in Wheeling earlier this year. The Braintree, Massachusetts-based company manufactures frozen and deli pizza and salad dressings and sauces. Rich Loaf Foods customers span retail and food service channels across the United States and Canada. The company evaluated several locations across a number of states and decided on the Wheeling site due to its geographic location, superior infrastructure, and strong labor market. Tim O'Connor, the president and CEO, thanked the Village of Wheeling leadership team, Governor Bruce Rauner, and Congressman Bob Dole for their help in bringing Rich Loaf Foods to Wheeling and the state of Illinois. The facility will employ as many as 125 workers over the next 12 months. Rich Loaf Foods spent the last couple of months making major improvements to the facility, and they expressed their gratitude to village staff for their assistance in processing all the inspections and approvals to get the food production facility into operation today. I'd like to extend my thanks to the Community Development Department and the Fire Department for their efforts to meet Rich Loaf Foods' very aggressive time frame to get this plant into operation. So they made a lot of frozen pizzas today. It was a good day.
It was a good day.
Thank you.
That's great news, John. Thanks.
Thank you.
Assistant Public Works Director Bazier.
Thank you. We have one announcement. In the upcoming weeks, the village's contractor, Muscat Painting, will be repainting streetlight poles along Milwaukee Avenue from roughly Manchester to just north of Mayer. In order to perform this work, the flower baskets and the banners will need to be removed, and nothing will be replaced until the holiday, or nothing will be on the streetlight poles until the holiday season with the new streetlight decoration pole, streetlight decorations, or until a new banner program is in place.
Thank you. That's it. Consent agenda.
All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items. 11A, resolution authorizing the village president and village clerk to execute a parking lease renewal with Commonwealth Edison Company, allowing the village to continue to lease property for Metro commuter parking. 11B, resolution authorizing the village president and clerk to execute amendment number 4 to the commuter station development agreement with Metro. Item 11C, resolution ratifying the execution of an agreement between the Village of Wheeling and Andy Frame Services Incorporated for crossing guard services. Item 11D, ordinance declaring a surplus and authorizing the disposal and or recycling of municipal property owned by the Village of Wheeling.
Thank you. Any concerns, questions?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Kruger, second by, Trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. 13A.
13A, ordinance authorizing a First Amendment to the restated redevelopment agreement between the Village of Wheeling and WTC LLC for the development of land at 351 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois, compromising a part of the town center to TIF district of the Village of Wheeling, Cook and Lake Counties, Illinois.
Thank you. Manager Spendelis.
Thank you. I will ask Attorney Furlow to fill in any blanks, but essentially there are two parts this evening to what's before you. The first, legislatively, is an extension to the redevelopment agreement that provides a timeline extension to Halloween, October 31st, for the developer to provide details that will allow him to proceed with the project. And that leads us into the second part, which really is an announcement and a presentation of the details of the project and where we are, what's coming next, and really for the first time, some significant renderings and provide an opportunity for the board to ask questions should they have any. This really is an exciting evening because we're getting ready to go. Brad Friedman and his team, who have flown in from all over the country, are here tonight to seek approval, yes, from the board for the extension, but also for the benefit of the public, the Wheeling residents and businesses, to talk about what exactly this project is going to look like and really talk about the timelines and how this project is nearing a shovel in the ground. So anything, Jim, that you'd like to add as far as the restated RDA?
The change is simple. It's one change for final PUD, which extends that period of 2 months related to this announcement. The rest of the RDA remains the same. The rest of the timelines remain the same, other than final PUD approval, which was the next step for the developer.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you. Good to see everyone again. As John said, we're really excited to be here and provide you with a lot of updates and details on the project. With me today is my partner, Josh Goldstein, president of the Lindmark Group, and his most trusted advisor, John Bryan. I also have Eric Handley from W.A. Randolph, our general contractor, Tom Arsofsky and Anthony Fazzolo from RTKL, the lead architects on the project as well. As John said, just wanted to go through and bring you up to speed on all of the updates with regards to the project. Our civil engineers have been working diligently on the site plan and the infrastructure aspects with regards to all the site improvements. And we have already submitted to MWRD for our permit approval, and we have also provided a notice of intent to the IEPA as well. We've been working with our neighbors over at the Park District to get the easement approved in order to allow us a lot of utility coordination so we can install the new water main for the village. So the easement was approved, and we immediately started having coordination meetings with ComEd Electric, Nicor Gas, AT&T, some other low voltage, private data providers, and looking at the utility plans with regards to the water, sewer, sanitary, and we are ready to commence construction and install that new water main for the village. And we're going to break ground on that infrastructure component this fall. We also worked out the agreement with West Shore, the reimbursement agreement to relocate the pipe, which runs straight through the site. We met with the project manager from West Shore, and we met with the design engineer responsible, and we've started to coordinate with their team on the staging and all of the other coordination aspects with regards to the relocation and the installation of that pipe in order to minimize cost and make sure that it's done in a proper way, not to interfere with any of the traffic patterns. We have our preliminary plat of subdivision, which has been submitted to village staff and the village attorney, along with the declaration of covenants, reciprocal easements, and operating agreement for the town center. As it was mentioned, the Metro commuter station development agreement has been reviewed thoroughly with our team, with Metro, with village staff, and is now ready to be executed. We have a wonderful site here with fantastic neighbors surrounding us, and we've resolved all of those third-party agreements so we can proceed with the town center project, working with Metro, working with the Park District facility, and of course West Shore in order to allow us to proceed with the site. A lot of thought went into the planning of the town center site. It's always been our vision to create that central gathering place for the community, and we've put a lot of detail into the Plaza area, which will serve as a focal point to make sure that we really create a pedestrian-friendly network. We want to make sure that there is a cohesive sense of interconnectedness between the retail, the restaurants, the theater, the residential building, make sure that it's very welcoming and inspires people to visit. We've put a lot of detail into the plaza, working with our landscape architect to get those plans ready for submittal. We've also been doing a lot of work with our architects on the building elevations, and our general contractors have been involved working with the masonry subcontractors in order to take those drawings to the next level of detail. The building plans for the apartment building have come a long way. We've been having a lot of coordination meetings with the architects, the structural engineers, the MEP engineers, our energy consultants, and our general contractors have all looked at this, and we've got the plans now where they are permit-ready drawings that we have actually already submitted to staff. We've also submitted them to ICCI, which is the village's third-party building reviewer. And then we also have submitted these plans to our loan originator and the HUD consultant reviewer to make sure that we are staying one step ahead of the game. A lot of detail, as I said, went into these plans, and I just wanted to show you an enlarged picture of how much detail goes in with regards to the landscaping area and the units, the courtyard area, and the layout of the amenity space. We've stayed true to our vision. We've got the main entrance right off of the plaza here, which leads into a leasing lounge here and a leasing office, and then flows very nicely into the common area amenity clubroom lounge, where we will feature a giant TV and sofas for the residents to gather and watch sporting events. We'll have high tops, and we'll have a pool table. Over here we have a nice demonstration kitchen, which residents will be able to rent out for private parties. We'll have sliding barn doors if they want to close that area off. We've got a yoga room that will have fitness on demand, and a fitness room with lots of exercise equipment. We've got a conference room, we've got a computer workstation area, we've got a game room, and everything is centralized, and it flows right into the courtyard area here. Taking a look at the courtyard, it's been really wonderful to work with our landscape architect on the design of the pool, the pergola seating, the fire pit feature, the gazebo covered bar area, the barbecue grills, the dining tables, the putting green, the lawn area for bocce ball, cornhole, or other leisurely lawn activities to really create that wonderful gathering place for the residents. So we've done all this work, and we were ready to submit final PUD, but we have a new anchor tenant, and after further discussions with village staff and village attorney, it was decided that we should wait until we have those building plans, floor plans, and elevations. And we just received some of that information recently. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great honor that I can present our new anchor tenant, CMX, the VIP Cinema Experience. Joining us today is Tom Stevenson, who's the Managing Director for CMX America. CMX does a luxury dine-in cinema with high-end finishes and decor. They show first-run blockbuster movies. They have an upscale menu with a wide range of food and beverage options. They have a very stylish lounge, as you just saw, a full bar with handcrafted cocktails. They have oversized leather seating and an overall first-class service. CMX is the 6th largest movie theater chain in the world. They have very strong financials, which means they have excellent staying power, which is a really nice built-in security for the town center. They have nearly 300 theaters. They are making a major investment into Wheeling and also into entering the U.S. market. They have 8 executed leases. And the first one that we read about was the Brickell City Center in Miami. It is Miami's largest mixed-use urban development with a total project cost of over $1.1 billion, featuring a lot of department stores, Apple Store, and CMX will now be the anchor cinema for that project. We also just heard that they are taking over the Regal Cinema at Old Orchard in Skokie, the Westfield Shopping Mall. We also just found out that they are going into Wrigleyville, the Bucksbaum project at Clark and Addison, kitty corner to Chicago's very own Wrigley Field, another very exciting project. They also announced a blockbuster collaboration with Chicago's very own Let Us Entertain You. Everybody is familiar with Let Us Entertain You and the wonderful restaurants that they offer, and we're really excited to have them be part of the team and provide consultation on all of the delectable food items. And of course, Wheeling. They've made a commitment to the Wheeling Town Center. They've flown in here to show their commitment. We just received these drawings last week. We've been working with the architects, looking at the floor plans, having meetings with their operations team, taking a closer look at their layout. They're going to have 10 screens. I think it's about 780 seats or so. They've got the nice lounge area, and we just received these perspective renderings late last week. For the first time, we're here today to take a look at the massive investment that CMX is making to the town center. It's really great from my perspective, and I hope you guys agree, to see this wonderful company come in, anchor the town center, and the level of detail and build out that they are committing to the town center is absolutely wonderful, and we're really happy to have them on board. With CMX comes new leasing agents working on the project from Newmark, Grubb, Knight, and Frank, who are making a lot of progress now that we are ready to put a shovel in the ground and we have this fantastic anchor tenant with us. And that is all I have for tonight. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you for a little Q&A.
I'll start with Trustee Vogel. Any questions?
Any other prospective leasers?
Yes, we've been in negotiations with Starbucks and Potbelly's and AT&T and recent interest from Weber Grill and Andy's Frozen Custard.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes. Old Orchard, Skokie, Miami, Wrigleyville. You don't have to convince anybody up here that Wheeling is at par with those. What made you pick Wheeling, though?
Oh, you're asking
Mr. Stevenson?
CMX?
Right.
Yeah.
Just come forward, please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom Stevenson,
Hey, Tom.
Managing Director of CMX USA. We liked everything about the Wheeling project and what you had done. I mean, when I first came here, I've never seen a town center like this already, from the aquatic center, what you've done. I mean, this city has an amazing vision for what it wants to do. It has the resources to do it. We were clearly attracted to that. We're going around to major SMSAs in the United States, of which Chicago is obviously one, and then trying to find the most important places that we can do cinemas within those major SMSAs. And obviously Skokie and Wrigleyville and Wheeling seem very important to us.
Thank you. And thank you for the plug for our Park District, who once again provided the easement and the aquatic center there. So, and I'm very happy to welcome you. Will there be any type of exclusivity agreement so that if someone doesn't want to go to the theater, other restaurants, will they be available at the town center, Mr. Friedman? Sorry.
The only exclusivity as of now is for the right to show first-run movies. There's no exclusivities with regards to food or beverage.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
Awesome. Trustee Vito?
No questions, Brad. Let's just get it done, man. Keep moving. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Trustee Brady?
Too worried to have questions, but I got to make a statement. 30 years of being involved with the development of this community and dreaming about businesses like this that bring us far forward, it's ecstatic. I can hardly wait. Good luck.
Thank you.
Trustee Krueger?
Thank you, Brad. I've always been in your corner, man. And like Trustee Vito said, don't scare us on Halloween. Let's go move forward with this. This is just an awesome
I don't want to be here on Halloween because I want to go trick-or-treating, so we'll get it done before then, okay?
Sounds great. Great. Welcome.
Trustee Lang?
Thank you. Brad, a lot of time and patience from all of us in this room to get to where we are now, and this is an awesome project, and you did deliver, and you still have a ways to go, but so far so good. Everything looks great. Is this a one-phase project? I had heard a little something about that. It's all going to be done in one phase?
According to the redevelopment agreement, we really need to break ground on the residential apartment building and the movie theater in order to get land conveyance. And so that is that's what we are shooting towards. But the reality is that we are likely to have a lot of other executed leases and retail pads that end up going up at the same time. And so while it might be done in phases from an internal structural financial standpoint, the public won't really know that it'll just be flawless and continuous that we develop the retail pads and have all of the retailers, the restaurants, the movie theater, and the apartment building essentially coming to the market right about the same time.
Okay. So, and just for the audience information, you'll break ground later this year. And what will we expect the upcoming year then?
So the plan is to start a lot of the infrastructure, the utility relocates, the installation of the water main, and to do that this fall, some demolition, some backfill, mobilization of the site, and then we'll probably start going vertical in the spring with the residential building. And start working on delivering pad-ready sites to deliver to CMX. And then, from there, you're probably talking about spring 2018 for grand opening of the movie theater, some of the other restaurants and retail pads, and the residential building as well.
Thank you. I want to thank the folks from CMX for having faith in Wheeling, and same with the folks from the residential building too. They're both very beautiful projects, so
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Attorney Furlow, any comments?
No, I think we're on track. Things are looking good. And as far as the phasing goes, Brad's right. That's how we drafted the RDA, finish one component of the project and move to the next. But I'm sure the board, if Brad presents opportunities and we're making progress, we could always amend the RDA to make those phases more compressed. Certainly will. I'll present that to you.
I got a couple of things I want to say. Okay. On a personal note, you've gotten beat up by me and a bunch of other people for a lot of years, and I thank you for your patience. And I guess it worked out. It really did work out. But I think a lot of folks need to know a little history. This project probably wouldn't be coming or even talked about all these years if it wasn't for us having the metro station that was established in 1996. With that, in 2002, The village board at that time, and a different president, and there's been a lot of presidents and trustees that have come and gone in those years, okay? But they had the vision to do some remapping because they knew there was infrastructure in place that it was time to do a remapping of the FEMA map. And that enabled us to do some work here on Dundee Road, work out a partnership with the Park District, build this village hall here, swap some land and do some things. 2003, it came to our attention that there was some grant money that Metro was offering for transit-oriented development. We were awarded the first grant out of the box. We got that, and we had Lakota at that time. Can you remember that? That did the study and about building a downtown. So I'm just giving people a little history, what takes so long. There's a lot of history here. In 2005, when we found out the maps were remapped and we can build here, we did our partnership with the Park District when we built this village hall. In 2008, Wicks went bankrupt. That time, and I'll go back to 2005, 2006, they were asking for that land about $12 million. They came down about a year or two later to about $9 million. The village ended up in bankruptcy court with them and purchased that land for $3.775 million, which at that time, I was quoted as saying I thought that was a bargain, okay? And it was. In 2011, you came into the picture, 2010, 2011, we went out for an RFQ to get a developer to build on a vision that we all had based on the consultants that we had hired from the grant and what we wanted to see there. So we've been dealing with you for about 6 years, back and forth. And then 2003, we went through all the recession stuff back in 2010, 2011, 2012. We were kind of upside down with our TIFs and stuff like that, so we had to establish new TIFs. We worked diligently and we were a great cooperative. It ended up being with the Park District, with the school districts, with everybody, and made them partners, which we have. And we're here today. A lot of history, a lot of years, a lot of players. But I think this truly will be totally a destination spot for us. It really will. Having let us entertain you here, having CMX here is, sometimes, you know what, you got to go through a little pain to get the good. And I think we went through a lot of pain, all of us. We're all frustrated, wanted things done. But again, you know what, we needed to put our ducks in order. And there's a lot of moving parts. You had to deal with the Park District. You had to deal with MWRD. You had to deal with IDOT. You had to deal with Burger King. You had a lot of moving parts to get everybody together to make this project happen. And it doesn't happen overnight. So for the folks and the critics out there, you guys are never going to do it, never going to do it. To do it right, it takes time. And we're there. And I'm excited about being there. So the faster that we can create that increment to help not just this community with revenue sources, but to help the other taxing bodies and bring people to this area. You see all the work we're doing here. We're finally got Community Boulevard, another work in progress. That was 7-8 years. When I got elected, we had Mr. Melanofi, and we got together with the staff, and we beat you up prior to that meeting. And I thought, you know what? We're beating this guy up, but we don't even have our own ducks in order. We're hitting brick walls. What do we do to get to that next step? There's a road there today that we waited 7 years for because we had to deal with the U.S. Post Office and some property owners. So it's happening. I'm very enthusiastic about that, and I thank this board and our staff for working diligently and not giving up the hope, even though politically it became a little nightmare for you, and they were getting a lot of heat from us. When we're wasting our time, we're wasting our time. But boy, it was a good wait. So I thank everybody, and I thank all the taxing bodies that worked with us and believed in us in making this happen, because I think it'll be a true benefit for everybody moving forward. So that's all I have. And with that, I'd be happily to take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Lang, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
See you real soon.
Item B,
Item B.
presentation regarding the fiscal year 2015 audit process for the Village of Wheeling by Brian Lefevre of CMX LLP.
Thank you. Director Monishing.
Thank you, Mr. President. In June of this year, the village completed the fiscal year 2015 audit process working with our auditors. And that month, we distributed to you a copy of the comprehensive annual financial report. Tonight, we invited one of our auditors, Brian Lefevre from CMX LLC, to speak to you as he has done in prior years to talk to you about the audit process and answer any questions you have. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Thank you. Hi, Brian.
Good evening. Thanks, Michael. On behalf of CMX, I'd like to thank the President and the members of the board for inviting us here to present some brief comments regarding the report resulting from the audit of your year ended December 31st, 2015. For those of you that are not familiar with the audit process does take a period of time, roughly about a 9-month process from when we start planning the audit to the culmination of the audit when we ultimately sign an opinion on the financial statements for the fiscal year. It includes input from all departments of the village, including yourself, the village board, to help us focus our audit procedures on the areas of highest risk. Some of the highlights that you'll find in the comprehensive annual financial report, which I believe, Michael, it's also on the website, are in the introductory section. The village received an award for its comprehensive annual financial report, or CAFR, for the 2014 year end. It was from the Government Finance Officers Association. Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. 35 years that the village has received this award, and it's really the highest level of financial reporting within the government industry. You should all be commended for your leadership in continuing to participate in that program. The independent auditor's report is included in the financial section of the report. In order for us to give an opinion on the financial statements, we go through that audit process. We follow the auditing standards issued by the ICCI, and then we also follow the rigorous standards of the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, which tells us what the document itself should look like, what the financial statements format should be. This year, that was especially rigorous in that the GASB changed the reporting rules for reporting of public pensions, your IMRF plan, your police pension plan, your fire pension plan, all with you funding exactly what the actuary is recommending, but for the first time actually putting that liability on the face of the financial statements. Really has changed how people view local government financial statements. Once we get through all of that, we can then give an opinion on the financial statements. We're pleased to once again present an unmodified opinion. And what that means is that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, free of material misstatement. And this is the highest level of opinion that you can receive on your financial statements. What's equally important to that is the opinion that we give on compliance with your tax and financing division, which obviously is very important to projects like what we were talking about this evening. And we gave an unmodified opinion on your compliance with all the provisions of the TIF, and you can find that also in the comprehensive annual financial report. If you don't look at anything else in the CAFR, I would encourage you to read the management's discussion and analysis. This is the executive summary. This is where you go. It's where you send your constituents, besides that annual budget document, to what are the financials all about at the village. And it compares the 2014 and 2015 year. Really does a good job. It's a required document, but it also, you take advantage of that when you have the opportunity to write about your financial position. In conclusion, all the information that we received was completed and on a timely basis. All deadlines were met. The village staff once again worked very hard to meet all these deadlines, along with our CMX team. Enjoyed working with you all, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Questions? Trustee Pamatos.
Just congratulations, Director Mondashane. Once again, excellent job, and to you and your staff. Thank you.
Anybody else? That's it. 13C.
Presentation regarding
Thank you, Brian.
report on the financial results of fiscal year 2015.
Thank you. Director Mondashane.
Thank you again, Mr. President. As I've done in the past, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the results of 2015. I gave you a sneak preview a few months ago, and tonight I'd like to go into a little bit more detail. As always, if you have any questions, please interrupt me, and I'll try to answer your questions. So as we talked about a few months ago, we had a very good fiscal year in terms of the general fund and in general with the other funds as well. But focusing on the general fund, we finished the year with a surplus of $787,000. If you'll recall, we had budgeted a deficit of $753,000. So it was the opposite result. And you can see from the top line here that we did very well in terms of revenue. We brought in about $2.1 million in more revenue than we anticipated. And our expenditures were $571,000 below, or I'm sorry, slightly above budget. And I'll explain why that was the case in a minute. Revenues were up specifically due to 4 one-time only sales tax transactions. If not for that $1 million in one-time only money, the increase to revenue would have been about 3.05%. And so digging a little bit deeper into the revenue side of the equation, again, sales tax was up because of those one-time only transactions. Income tax was up significantly, more than what we budgeted. And then we got a legal settlement that we didn't anticipate. And all the other sources of revenue to the general fund were up higher than what we expected as well. State use tax was up due to Amazon.com, and that's because Amazon started to collect use tax from purchasers who use that website and remitted it to the state of Illinois, and so we receive a share of that as well. And then on the expenditure side, if you look at the bottom line, as I mentioned before, we were about $571,000 over budget, but there was a very good reason for that, and that was because if you recall, in January of this year, the village board made the decision to allocate $1 million of surplus to the village's 3 pension funds. Now, I mentioned before that we had about a $700,000 surplus, but in reality, that was more like $1.7 million, and it ended up being $700,000 because you made the decision to devote some of that money to the pension funds. The bottom line shows where we would have been had we not made that $1 million contribution to the pension funds, and we would have actually been under budget by $429,000. We would have been within basically 99% of what we budgeted, which means that we're doing a very good job of budgeting because we're budgeting for what we're really going to spend. Incidentally, the surplus policy that you approved in January and acted on in January was something that was noticed by the bond rating agencies. You're all aware that we're in the process of refunding our Series 2005 TIF revenue bonds. As part of that process, we had to go through a bond rating review with both S&P and Fitch, and they affirmed our bond ratings. S&P we have a AA rating with, and Fitch we have a AA+, and they made a lot of very positive comments about the work that the village board has done specifically over the years to improve our financial position, specifically that we have a balanced budget after not having a balanced budget for several consecutive years. We have high fund balance, strong financial policies like our newly implemented debt policy and the general fund surplus policy that you implemented that allows us to contribute surplus money to the pension fund. So those are all positive things that the village has done to improve our financial position, and the bond rating agencies took note of that. So I'm going to just go through a few more things briefly, and starting with sales tax. As you can see, going back to 2007, sales tax was very strong back then, and then as we went through the Great Recession, it started to drop off. It's now coming back, and in 2015, it was up 8.8%. This year, it's up 3.6% through 5 months of the fiscal year. And I have a note on the bottom here. It appears as if we've had another of these one-time sales tax transactions this year. So that's helping our situation this year as well. Income tax last year was up 11%. It was a very strong year for income tax. And you can see that the general trend in the last few years is up, so that's a good thing. This year, however, receipts through the first 6 months of the year are down 8.2%. So income tax is one of those sources of revenue that can fluctuate significantly from year to year, and we pay a lot of attention to it. Property tax was up last year. That was in large part what allowed us to balance our budget for 2016. And then, going back to 2008, as I mentioned before, we had, you'll see several in this column labeled actual results, several years in a row where we ended with deficits and borrowed money from other funds to try to reduce the impact to the general fund balance. 2015 again was a surplus year that was actually $1.7 million. And this year in 2016, it's a little early to say, even in August, but it appears that we're going to end the year with a small surplus at this point, so of about $188,000. And if that's the case, our fund balance will grow to $14.6 million, which represents 37% of our annual operating expenditures, and that's a very strong position for fund balance. And then you can see the history of our fund balance going back to 2014 and then projected out to 2021. We do financial projections moving forward so that we can make better decisions about where we need to be with respect to the general fund. And the only thing I'd like to note here is in prior years when I've put this slide up here, there was rather a precipitous drop-off in fund balance in future years to the point where we actually exhausted our fund balance. And as you can see, that has stabilized essentially. And that's in large part because we were able to balance the budget. And as a result, we should be in a good position for the next few years. These are conservative projections. They assume modest increases in revenue. They also assume 100% SURF contributions, and 2016 includes a 100% contribution to the SURF fund. That was another thing that the bond rating agencies noted as very important. And the only other thing that I'd like to mention is this does not reflect really any new significant programs or services. So to the extent that the village board were to decide to add additional staff or significant programs, that would have a negative impact on fund balance going forward. So this basically is status quo.
Michael, does this reflect any projections regarding the town center?
It does. It does. We've, again, very conservatively, but we've included revenue projections for 2018 and beyond from the town center.
Thank you.
Okay, the water and sewer fund, again, the fund balance in this fund tends to fluctuate from year to year due to capital projects. We're required to have a 25% fund balance. We should have no problems maintaining a 25% fund balance going forward with moderate increases in water and sewer rates. So the water and sewer fund is in good shape.
Michael, does that include the stormwater?
It does not. The stormwater fund is a separate fund from water and sewer. Okay. And this was, as you know, the first year that we implemented the stormwater fund. We expect to have receive about $550,000 in revenue this year. And we'll be taking a look during the budget process about, future years and the types of projects that we'll be able to fund out of that funding source.
Thank you.
Just wanted to mention that after several years of declining water sales, it appears that we've now hit a plateau, and we're selling about 1.2 billion gallons of water per year, and that's been pretty consistent for the last few years, which is a good thing. Because when water sales are declining, it forces us to have to increase rates to make up for the difference. And now that we've leveled out, we should have minimal increases in water and sewer rates going forward. The 911 fund, is in decent shape. We have to meet a 15% minimum for fund balance. That requires us to contribute $120,000 each year from the general fund as a subsidy. Right now, the fund balance is very high. That'll be coming down in the next few years, but we should have no problems maintaining fund balance in the 911 fund. Same situation with the liability insurance fund. We try to maintain 200% of annual claim expense, and we, in 2016, will be over that amount. Going forward, we'll be able to draw down a little bit on that, and should have no problems paying for our general liability and workers' comp claims. This just gives you an idea of the volatility of workers' comp and general liability claims. As you all know, we're self-insured, and so from year to year, our claim history fluctuates significantly, as this chart indicates. On average, we have about $759,000 in losses, but the program is working very well. We've been able, as I showed you before, to maintain fund balance even when we have a bad year here or there. The Capital Projects Fund has a dedicated source of revenue. It's the gas and electric use tax. One of the other things that the bond rating agencies noted is that we have a capital improvement program that is a pay-as-you-go program, which means that we do not have to issue debt to pay for street and water and sewer projects, and that's something that the agencies took note of as well. Fund balance in here, there is no fund balance policy because we actually try to spend the money that we take in on infrastructure projects. And I just highlighted some of the projects that are going to be coming up in the next few years. So we're going to be putting a lot of money into street projects, sidewalk projects, street lighting, and so forth. And then I want to just talk briefly about the TIF funds so you know what the status of each of the TIF funds is. In 2019, the Crossroads TIF fund will come to an end. Right now, we have a little bit of a deficit in the Crossroads TIF. It was $643,000 at the end of 2015. That's going to correct itself by the end of 2019. We don't have any major projects budgeted in the Crossroads TIF, and every year we declare a surplus equal to 72% of the annual increment per the intergovernmental agreement that we have with the other taxing districts. The Lake Cook TIF district is probably the best example of how a successful TIF district can work. Because of the success of the Weston project, the Prairie Park project, Millbrook Townhome project, we have a significant fund balance. In the Lake Cook TIF, it was over $2.2 million at the end of 2015. That says 2015 proposed, but it should say actual. That's going to grow in the next few years because we don't have any major projects budgeted, and that represents an opportunity for the village to fund some additional economic development related projects. It's also going to grow in part because of the fact that we are refunding the Series 2005 TIF bonds at a present value savings we think of about $2.5 million. So there's some opportunity here to do some projects in the Lake Cook TIF or to move that money to another TIF district where it might be needed. Same story with the South Milwaukee TIF. We have money budgeted in this TIF district for the South Milwaukee project. We have an intergovernmental agreement that requires us to distribute 45% of the increment each year as surplus, and there's going to be additional money available in the next few years to a growing fund balance. So there's some opportunities in that TIF district as well.
And we can move that, to another TIF too, the new TIF that we created by the airport.
Right. That's right. That TIF district, the Southeast TIF, is new, and as you'll see in a minute, it doesn't have a lot of money coming into it. So here, this creates a situation where we could use that money in that TIF district. And so here it is. It was created in 2014, and it doesn't expire till 2037. There's not going to be a lot of increment coming in the next few years because it's too new.
Right.
So we do have one water and sewer project budgeted, but there are going to be other opportunities there as well. And then finally, in the Town Center TIF 2 project, TIF 2 district, we have a number of projects. You heard about the largest project tonight is the Town Center project, but the village has committed to paying for moving the West Shore Pipeline, the municipal campus intersection, which of course is going on right now, a berm and basin project at St. Joseph Church, the Northgate Parkway townhomes, and so forth. So again, this is an example of a TIF district with a lot of activity, but it's new, so there's a limited amount of increment coming in at this point, but that will grow in the future. And then the Capital Equipment Replacement Fund, I just wanted to point out at the end of 2015, we had a $4.4 million fund balance. The 2016 budget reflects a full contribution. As I've said in the past, when we make full contributions, it reduces the amount of the contributions that we have to make in the future. When we do less than a full contribution, we have to make it up, and that makes it harder in future years. But Standard & Poor's made the comment when they released their report on our bond rating that, in fact, the village has, in effect, additional unrestricted reserves that it can use to support operations, and it meant in terms of the Capital Equipment Replacement Fund. So that was a very interesting comment from my perspective, because essentially what S&P was saying is that in addition to the fund balance that we have in the general fund, we also have monies available in the Capital Equipment Replacement Fund that in effect could be used to support operations if we needed to do so. And we've actually done that in the past, where we borrowed money from the SURF fund to make up the difference of any gap that we had in the general fund. So they now are adding that to our general fund balance, and they made the comment that our fund balance is effectively 50% because of the additional money that we have in the SURF fund. So SURF is important, and it's something that the rating agencies look at as well. And then just wanted to tell you where we're at with our pension funds. We have three major pension funds: police, fire, and IMRF. At the end of 2015, you can see what our unfunded liabilities were in each of those funds and what the funded percentage was. Overall, we were 68% funded. That's meant, however, that we had a $58 million unfunded liability. And that's something that, at least in terms of the police and fire pension funds, we have to address by 2040 by being 90% funded. One of the things that we've talked about in the past that the board may want to think about going into the next budget process this fall is whether we should consider lowering the police and fire pension fund investment return assumptions. Right now, we have an investment return assumption of 7.5%. That's pretty high, and as you'll see by this first box, what that means is that for next year, at 7.5%, the village's contribution to the three funds is going to go up $445,000, or a little over 9%. If we lowered our investment return assumption for the police and fire pension funds to 7.25%, the increase would be about $803,000, which is roughly $350,000 more than it would be otherwise. That's a challenge for us as we try to balance the fiscal year 2017 budget. But to the extent that we're able to lower our investment return assumption, we will better position our pension funds to be better funded in the future. And it's something that I think we need to consider. So we'll talk more about that during the budget process, but I just wanted to show you what that looks like. And then finally, In terms of fiscal year 2017 and beyond, our budget for 2016 is balanced. The board has taken the difficult steps to get us to that point. So we're in good shape financially from that perspective. As I mentioned before, however, if we do implement significant new increases in services or staffing levels, that will likely to lead to deficits in the future. So we just need to be aware of that. And we continue to be concerned about what's happening at the state level with respect to proposals to cut our share of income tax and potentially freeze property tax as well. Those would be things that would obviously have a negative impact on the village. And as the bond rating agencies pointed out, we still have the challenge of rather large pension and OPEB obligations that are underfunded and need to be addressed over time.
Michael?
Yep.
Stop you for a minute. LGDF, why don't you explain to the public how that works and how those monies are funneled back to the village of Wheeling?
Sure.
How it started, too.
So the state of Illinois, as everyone knows, collects personal income tax and corporate income tax from businesses, and they remit a share of that. Most of it is kept for state purposes, but they remit a share of that to every municipality in the state based on population. So we don't get income tax based on how much income is actually produced in Wheeling. We just get a per capita share of that. That goes into our general fund. It's one of our 3 largest sources of revenue to the general fund.
And I think it's 8% of the share that they collect that is distributed throughout all the municipalities fairly. It started, I believe, back in 1969, because different towns had different per capita, and they felt that it'd be unfair, you know, who gets, who doesn't get, and everything else, too. So,
right?
Am I right?
Yep.
Right. So, well, the bottom line is they're talking about taking half of it away. And if you saw the numbers earlier, half is $2.2 million. And how do you make that up? That's a scary thought. And that's what every municipality around here is going through right now. Monies that are generated by businesses and per capita in our community that are going down to Springfield to come back to us, they want to hold half, plus freeze property taxes. You saw the numbers. Those are millions of dollars a year of a lost income that this village would lose. What do? And it all boils down to core services and staffing. That's where the cuts come in. And then you see these unfunded mandates that we need all our pensions at 90% funded by 2040. So we continue with the unfunded mandates, more expenses for municipalities, but less revenues coming in. This is a problem that we're all being faced with today, that they're playing games with down in Springfield. So it's been a concern of mine for the last 2 years, and everybody else here on this board, because we walk in blindsided with these guys. Every time they meet, anytime I go down to Springfield, it's an adventure. So I just wanted to share that with you, because you hear LGDF, income tax, how's the money come? How's the money come? That's how it comes, because it's fair across the board for everybody, based on per capita, based on everybody that pays their fair share to the state, where an 8% share is given back into a pot and split up based on per capita. That's how we make our money. And in our case, it's $4.4 million a year. And these guys are talking about getting rid of half of it, as high as 75% of it. It's a lot of money. They can bankrupt many communities. Many communities. So I'm sorry for interrupting, but no. I wanted people to understand this is still in the news today and still being talked about.
Right. And then finally, as far as 2016 is concerned, I thought I'd just give you an update of where we're at. And as I mentioned previously, at this point, it appears we're going to finish the year with a small surplus. It's hard to say for sure because we only have 5 months of sales tax revenue information and 6 months of income tax. But some of the highlights are that sales tax is up almost 2.5% after excluding the one-time transaction that I mentioned previously. Income tax is down substantially after being up last year. And our expenditures are trending slightly higher than budgeted, but it's still early. And as you all recall, the board added $125,000 to the budget for holiday lights. But even with that, we should finish with a surplus. So with that, I would be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you, Michael. Great job. Questions from anybody? Mary?
One quick question, Michael. Early on, you mentioned that the receipts were down for the first 6 months of the year. Do you have any speculation as to why?
For income tax?
Yes.
It fluctuates with the economy. I really don't have an answer at this point. It was up 11% last year, and it tends to be up and down, and I'm not sure at this point. I'm hoping to get more information from the Department of Revenue, though.
Thank you.
Anybody else? David?
Nothing. Thank you, Michael.
Anybody else?
Take your
Great. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Good work. 13D.
A resolution commemorating the renaming of South Drive in the Village of Wheeling as Sunshine Drive.
Thank you. Manager Svendos.
Thank you. This is really ratifying an action that took place last week as part of a delegation celebration that we participated in, hosting a number of delegates from Suncheon in South Korea. It was a wonderful opportunity to expand our cultural outreach, to get our community out beyond our borders and out into international waters. This was a ceremonial event, but actually has some pretty strict implications in that we are and have changed the name of a street in town. There are no addresses affected by the street change, and it is one of ultimately 3 changes that we believe we'll be doing in the coming months, all celebrating our relationship with South Korea. I think the second whereas in the resolution is important and really describes exactly what the purpose of this name change is, and that is, whereas the city of Suncheon has demonstrated notable hospitality and generosity toward the village, toward the Korean Cultural Center, and toward other long-term relationships, towards other members of the broader community, as well as an investment in building productive long-term relationships in Wheeling and throughout the region. I think that describes the purpose, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Questions? I'd just like to thank everybody that showed up on Friday. I appreciate all the past presidents as well and the taxing body members for being here. It was really nice. And we continued our luncheon at the Botanical Gardens, and then the Korean Cultural Center had a beautiful, nice luncheon. Dinner. Mr. Rosen was there and actually tried to sing a song. It was a hard one, Rich. That was a hard one for you, buddy. But we had a lot of fun, and they appreciated it, and they, again, graciously opened us with open arms and just good friendship, and something that's going to be well received regarding the educational exchange that we're trying to do with them. So, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Kruger, second by Trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. 13E.
Ordinance repealing ordinance number 4722 and granting special use site plan approval for a daycare center at 581, 583 North Wolf Road.
Thank you. Director Jennings.
Thank you. The ordinance in front of you this evening relating to the existing business at 581 to 583 North Wolf is being suggested as a repeal and replace because the nature of the business would be changed from what the original legislation was written for. It's an existing tutoring facility that would be adding full-day daycare to its business type. Plan Commission has recommended approval. Just worth noting real quick from the staff report, the petitioner is proposing an outdoor play area. It's a requirement of DCFS to have a certain amount of outdoor play area once you have a full-day facility. Plan Commission recommendation included the following conditions of approval. Number 1, the exact location of the fence for the outdoor play area may be adjusted to avoid utility conflicts, provided there is a minimum drive aisle clearance of 12 feet. Number 2, additional insulation shall be added to reduce noise from neighboring tenants. Number 3, the fence shall not extend beyond the rear wall of Unit 583. And number 4, the fence shall be white. I believe the petitioner is here if you have any questions.
She is. Good evening. Please state your name.
Good evening. I'm Olga Hamichanuk.
Thank you, Olga. Questions from the board? Entertain a motion to approve with the conditions stated. Motion by trustee Brady.
Second.
Second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Thank you. Item F.
Motion to reconsider an ordinance authorizing a First Amendment to the redevelopment agreement between the Village of Wheeling and Arbor 4 Incorporated regarding the Arbor Courts apartment compromising a part of the Crossroad Central Business District TIF district.
Thank you. Trustee Krueger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Before I make a motion, I would like to read a statement into the record. For the record, I want to express my understanding of the requests that this petitioner, since their first discussions with this board on January 18th this year. In January, a term sheet was discussed and approved. Exactly 4 months later, on April 18th, the RDA was approved, and I voted yes on both of those occasions. Had there been solid justification from the petitioner when this came back in August, on August 1st, I likely would not have voted no. Since then, a satisfactory amount of information has been provided, enough for me to reconsider my vote again and advocate for this project. It's important to note that this project has had village support for 8 months. I hope to see it move forward. With that, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider by trustee Krueger. Second by?
Second.
Trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Vito?
No.
President Juris?
Yes. Entertain a motion to,
Do you want me to read the
go
order?
ahead, read it for the record.
Okay. Ordinance authorizing a First Amendment to a redevelopment agreement between the Village of Wheeling and Arbor 4 Incorporated regarding the Arbor Courts apartments compromising a part of the Crossroads Central Business District, TIF district.
Thank you. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Lang.
Second.
Second by trustee Krueger. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
No.
Trustee Vito?
No.
President Juris?
Yes, thank you. Official communication. I'll start with trustee Krueger.
I'm just so glad that Trustee Brady didn't eat those Kit Kats before we...
Oh, you should have put a sign on it.
I don't know. The Kit Kat bag felt a little light. Might have taken a couple of them.
That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Vogel?
It's a little bit early, but I believe it's October 8th.
Yes.
We'll be holding the second annual community breakfast at the fire station. The public is invited. It's a free breakfast. There'll be more details to follow.
Okay, thanks. Looking forward to that. Trustee Brady?
Nothing, except I'm glad to see that Michael Monchain gets his graphs going in the right direction. You know, it's very, very positive for a change. Thank you, Michael.
Trustee Vito?
Thank you, President Argyris, for coming out to the Ridgefield Homeowners Association meeting and informing some of the residents on some of the stormwater stuff. We appreciate that. And to my neighbors in Ridgefield, the third annual Ridgefield Neighborhood Block Party is this Saturday. It'll be down by Mark's house. Mark, have your boys ready. We got a tent, and I need their help getting the keg out of the car again. Thank you.
Trustee Papantos?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Trustee Lang?
Well, other than this being a pretty uplifting meeting, we had a lot of good things on the agenda. Maya in, it was a great meeting, great to see this stuff happening in Wheeling. I do have a question though for Manager Svandulis on Dundee and 83. Can you give us an update on what's going on? It seems like the project's a little delayed and some folks have been voicing their opinion on it to me.
I do not know of any particular delays. As President Argyris says, they were outpouring today. But Director Jennings or Assistant Director Bader, do you have anything specific? I wasn't made aware of any particular delay.
Well, it just seems like the project was moving along very swiftly, and all of a sudden the details dropped. You know, all the little fill-ins that they had to do really dropped off, and so now, like utilities and all that, it seemed like the utilities are really causing some issues. So is there anything that is it moving along now? Are the delays behind us?
I don't have that much of an update. The only thing that I have is that the sidewalks have been installed, but the southwest corner is still open because of utilities that they're still doing. And then the concrete sections, the concrete, we don't know when they're going to be poured yet, so it's kind of, right now, there's really no update to when that's going to be completed.
Okay. And then lastly, east of the river has all been resurfaced along Dundee Road. Are we getting any resurfacing throughout Wheeling and even west of here that we know of?
I am not aware of any at the moment. I do not know if the project extends any further west. As of our last conversations, there was no plan for that.
Can we advocate for that in the near future? It seems that the
consistently
we
east
always
of
do.
us,
Absolutely, we always do.
The east of us is always getting everything they want and desire on Dundee Road. Seems to come to Wheeling and sort of stop, and so.
Yes, and actually there was a bit of relief that there was nothing scheduled in the immediate future, considering what is about to happen to us beginning next year and for the next couple of years on Lake Cook Road. But I think, to your point, this gives us an opportunity to advocate for what happens as soon as Lake Cook Road is done, and that gives enough time for that to be budgeted. So we do and will continue to advocate for improvements.
Thank you.
Southwest corner, 83 in Dundee. Curb, gutter, and sidewalks were laid today. I watched them do it. It's done. Going around the corner, so you know. So they are moving, right? They had a lot of concrete trucks there today, so. Clerk's.
I have 3 today.
Ooh, good.
First of all, the Bob Chin's Charity Golf Outing benefiting the Alzheimer's Association of Greater Illinois Chapter will take place on Monday, August 29th. The event will be held in 2 locations, Hawthorne Woods Country Club in Hawthorne Woods and Royal Melbourne Country Club in Log Grove. An individual golfer is $350. A team of 4, a foursome is $1,400. For further information, I'm not going to read the email address, the website, because it's really long, but you can call the restaurant at 847-520-3633 and speak with Steve, and he'll give you all the information that you need. And then on August 24th, Wednesday, the Wheeling Historical Society will be having a tour of Chitterley Park's chapel at 6:30. It'll be interesting to see the inside of it. I don't know if any of you have ever been in there, but it's really a very neat place to go to, and refreshments will be free, served by the Wheeling Historical Society. And on August 27th, the AMVETS will have their annual Corn Fest at the AMVETS site on McHenry Road, and the time is from 12 to 5. If you need further information, please call Chris at 847-537-0440.
Thank you. A lot of stuff. Good. John?
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Just got a couple of things. I just want to thank, on a personal note, Lisa and Drew for putting everything together. I know I was on the phone with Drew Thursday night, probably about 10:30. My understanding, she didn't leave here until midnight. And then she was back here again at 6:30 in the morning, along with Lisa too. So, you know, again, great dedication by a couple of staff members that really care and wanted to do a nice thing for this community, and I thank them for that. And plus our police department presence and helping us there, and the fire department, everything. It was just all good stuff. Public Works setting everything up. Good team effort, and they were very impressed with that day. John, I got a request, and it's come to my attention, and they're 100% right. I'll be honest with you, I'm very frustrated with our post office. You and I have had this discussion before. Their mailboxes probably was monumented over there in 1960. It looks like it. And we need to get something together here. Let it be very clear to them. If they think they're going to get a left out of that drive like they're doing right now with the signalization here, they're nuts. So I don't know what we need to do, but we need to have a good flow there because it's a mess. I've reached out to them as well. I've actually had some federal leaders try to reach out to the Postmaster General. We'll go into discussion on that. I'm embarrassed with this post office. I'm embarrassed the way it looks. I hate the way it looks inside. It's like it hasn't changed since the 60s, and it's got to change. If this is going to be part of our downtown redevelopment area, they got to come up to snuff. Or better yet, close them up. I'd rather have them closed than look at this. I go to the Prospect Heights post office. It's like walking into a mini Office Max or Staples. It's inviting, it's bright, it's got a stamp machine. We don't even have a stamp machine. We got weeds here, we got broken stuff here, it looks terrible. It's an embarrassment to this community of 40,000 people, and I'll be honest with you, I'm on a mission, John. Help me. Enough is enough. They don't care, I care. And I'm sick of residents dodgeballing themselves out of here, turning left to go eastbound. There's no reason for that anymore. You know what, we got what we wanted, now we gotta go hard to get what we need to have here for this community. No more. So I got off my soapbox on that, but I'm telling you, I'm really disgusted with them. On a better note, 4 years ago, or going on 4 years ago, we had many years, we had differences with our partners over at Chicago Executive Airport, not with them so much, with our partners with Prospect Heights regarding revenue sharing. And if you guys look at your accruals and everything else, this is the third consecutive year that we actually made our share to our partners. Unprecedented. We made a big settlement, and then 3 consecutive years after that, we've made our share without them calling and asking, where's the check? So this is good stuff, and we kept our promises, and so I just wanted to share with that, because for 25 years, it was a nightmare with that. Again, I just want to thank staff on a lot of stuff that we're doing. You know what, it's summertime. It's supposed to be a time you can relax a little bit. We haven't. You know, Sherry, too, with the senior stuff that's going on, and there's going to be some news coming out on that sometime in September regarding some ideas that staff is working with. We're continuing to work with that. Economic development, John, every other day we're having meetings and we're doing stuff, so there's a lot of interest coming into this town, and I thank you guys for that. I thank this board, because the vision and the excitement still goes on here. And it hasn't been a slow summer, by all means. I'm beat, I'll be honest with you. Every day there's something going on, and it's all good stuff. So, again, I just wanted to thank you, John, and your guys, and we continue to follow through on what we're talking about and getting things done. So thank you and the board. That's all I have. Oh, just real quick, John. Wednesday, is it, at the West End? There's a thing with the chamber. You maybe make an announcement on that cyberspace thing. We're having a little, that might be interesting for some people to go to.
The Wheeling Prospect Heights Chamber of Commerce is hosting a cybersecurity seminar at the Westin at about 8 in the morning. All the details are on the Wheeling Prospect Heights Chamber website, wphchamber.com, and we're hoping for a good turnout for that.
It should be interesting, really, especially with all this hacking and everything going on with everybody's stuff. Okay,
absolutely.
Good. I just thought of it, John. Thanks. Anyway, approve the bill, entertain a motion to approve the bills from July 28th through August 10th, 2016.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Lang, second by trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, entertain a motion to adjourn. There is no executive session this evening.
So moved.
Motion by trustee Krueger,
Second.
second by trustee Papantos. Roll call.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Papantos?
Yes.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Vito?
Yes.
President Argyros?
Yes, thank you. Good night, everyone. Andrew, I got something for you.